The Wiz. Yes, this is part of my little burst of Oscar season movies. It's January, it's Oscar season. Nominees are voting's gonna happen soon. So this is my second. I did Harriet yesterday. I'm doing this one today. This one's available on Amazon and it's available with RoboDescription. Oh my god. Oh my god. Um yes. So yeah, I'd never seen The Wiz. I I just never saw The Wiz. Um Actually I've seen the Neo version. That was my only version of The Wiz that I'd seen, was the Neo version of The Wiz. This is the Diana Ross, Michael Jackson version of The Wiz. It was nominated for 4 Academy Awards. It is a 5.5 on IMDb. What is happening? I thought this was like a cultural touchstone, and then I saw the IMDb score, and I was like, "What is happening with this IMDb score?" There were moments that I thought didn't work for me, but also it is from the 70s, so I have to always sort of remind myself, would I have liked this more in the 70s? Some things feel like that was what they were doing in the time period. But yeah, yeah, there were some things and I was just like, I don't know, that doesn't really work for me. But so not entirely perfect, but the music is great. They have great singers in this. Diana Ross, and by the way, Home is one of the best songs ever written for a musical, hands down. It's yeah, it just is. No debate. There's no debating it. It just is. Accept it and invite it into your life. Um, but man, this audio description. I don't even need to talk about the film. Although I should talk about Michael Jackson's acting because he didn't really do that much of it in his career. It's not like he starred in a bunch of movies. He didn't even like Whitney Houston his way into like 4 or 5 films. He basically just whizzed. Uh, yeah, so the Scarecrow, interesting. He's very youthful and fun, and he could have done more of it. This could have been his thing, you know? I don't know why he didn't do more films. I thought he was fine. It's hard when you're not technically the lead of the film to stand out, but um I have no problem with it. His film was directed by Sidney Lumet, which was it's like that was not the name I was expecting. I just was I don't know what I was expecting, and I don't know that I could have predicted who directed The Wiz, but if you had a list of like even like 3 directors and Sidney Lumet was one of them, I would not have picked him. If it had gotten down to like Sidney Lumet and someone else, I mean that's the other person would have needed to be like Martin Scorsese or something. I'm like, does Sidney Lumet direct? It would have to be somebody who I knew for sure in their filmography was not The Wiz. Like, no, I know Steven Spielberg didn't direct The Wiz, so obviously I guess it means Sidney Lumet did. But I mean, it just I never would have crossed my mind that Sidney Lumet did this. Wow. Uh, probably is why the film got 4 Oscar nominations. To be totally honest, they're all tech nominations, but there's still Oscar nominations. This film still has 4 Oscar nominations. You know, no matter how much you hate Suicide Squad, it still won an Oscar. So the joke is on you. Yeah, The Wiz is well, this is an experience. This is where I'm like, so what do I do here? Like, what do I talk about? Is it watchable? That's a tough one, guys. All right, so here's what I usually do. I've been doing something a little bit differently because of Broadway HD. And Broadway HD does not have audio description for things. Um, So I think about what a musical is. The other thing that I do, the thing that pays me, is I get to work in live theater. Um, and I've done a lot of that. And I think about what a musical is, and then I think about what these taped, filmed versions of musicals are. And I think about, is there a reason to recommend watching this, even though it doesn't have audio description? Like for some, you're the only way that you would get to see it or listen to it if you love musicals is to listen to the cast album. But some musicals are really fleshed out incredibly well by knowing what happens in between, by getting certain scenes. Some cast recordings are very incomplete and they leave out a lot of great songs, a lot of reprises that are like, really emotionally hard hitting. Lots of things like that. So I try to take that all into consideration before I determine whether or not something that Broadway HD would produce is unwatchable simply because it doesn't have audio description. Would I recommend it or not? Because if you're in the love of musicals, you're probably going out to a lot of local community theaters and not everybody has audio description. So you're probably watching live musicals anyway that don't have audio description. You may be lucky enough to have a couple theaters in your area that do have audio description. You may get to see a couple shows with audio description. It just kind of depends. It's a very weird area that we're in that is even more patchy than film. So I'm looking at Gift Horse in the Mouth. I realize that it's a movie that has audio description. And honestly, the voice doesn't bother me as much. They've Amazon has been trying to step up their voices to make them sound less like Jaws. I don't know. Do any of you guys have usable Jaws voices that don't sound like they're gonna haunt you in the middle of the night? My Jaws sounds like it's gonna haunt me in the middle of the night and come kill me. Um, I don't have any good voices on it, and they're like, spend thousands of dollars for this, and I'm like, no, dude, I'm just gonna use the Microsoft version. This is terrifying most of the time. Here's Jaws. They're coming for it. And then I can't do this. This is not even remotely a real voice. Um, so yeah, I mean, it sounds a little bit more realistic than I've heard on some other Amazon titles where it's atrocious. I think they've been trying to up the sound quality, but this can't be it. This can't be one of the ones that they've filtered through and given a better sound quality to, because that's one of my biggest problems with it is that the sound quality is poor. It's not just the fact that it's obviously RoboDescription, it's actually the sound quality is poor. The it's constantly getting, it's not mixed well, so it's constantly getting trampled by the movie, by the score of the movie. Even in scenes where there's nothing really happening except like the music and they're like dancing or something, and they're trying, an audio description narrator is trying to just describe the dancing. It's just getting, it's like really hard to hear because it's, everything is balanced at one level and it doesn't ever take into consideration the fact that the volume of the movie changes from time to time. So it's not really a great experience. This is why I would say, I know Amazon's trying to cut corners with by removing the human quotient out of narration and by letting, I don't know, is it AI that's writing the script though? Like, you got to still be using humans somewhere. Are you using a human QC? Because I can't imagine that there's a blind human QC person that sat down and watched this and was like, yes, for what you're trying to do here, I'll give this the green light. With like the caveat of, I know it's RoboDescription, however, you have done the best you possibly can for this RoboDescription, because that's not even the case here. I can't even say that. I can't even vouch that this is the best RoboDescription that I've heard because I don't think it was quality checked. It's not mixed well enough to be quality checked. And you can hear it from the very beginning. At the very beginning, they have music playing and the narrator comes in and starts narrating like the opening credits, and it's being obliterated by the music. So um it's just not balanced well enough. Um so this is a tough one. I There are other versions of The Wiz too that are, and I can't remember whether or not The Wiz Live has audio. I believe it does. I believe that it's recent enough that it had audio description. So I don't know what to do here. This is Diana Ross and Michael Jackson. So if you want to watch specifically Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, then don't let this stop you. But then again, don't let the existence of audio description stop you anyway. You know, if you're a Michael Jackson fan and you're just trying to complete like Michael Jackson things, you're gonna watch this whether it has audio description or not, whether you're blind or not. It's just something that you would have seen already. I mean, this one's been around longer than me. So I would assume I'm speaking to nobody on this one because I'm sure those people already watched this. But if you didn't know Michael Jackson was in this, and maybe you're a new fan of his, then watch it, I guess. The same thing with Diana Ross. If you're a big fan of Diana Ross, then watch it. If you can find a reason personally for yourself to watch this, then go for it. But like as a blanket reason for me to say, yeah, Amazon really did this one good. I don't know that they did. I mean, it doesn't feel like really like a spectacle. It's in the periods where I could kind of hear the narration, it felt like it's doing an okay job of following things, but I didn't really get the spectacle of the Wiz in this. I think that's why I'm wondering, did AI write this? Because I think somebody who was interpreting what the original intent of the visual design. I mean, this thing has 4 tech nominations. So obviously it looks good. It has to look snazzy. But I didn't get necessarily that there was any focus on that. But was I able to follow the plot? Yeah, but it's also The Wiz. You know what I'm saying? It's an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz, which I've already seen a billion times, and I've already seen The Wiz live. So was I really gonna was I really gonna have a hard time following this? I don't know. This is such a hard film for me to review. Um, I can't give it that endorsement. I can't just say this is good and you should watch this because it's not good audio description. It's mediocre at best. I've heard worse, and I've heard worse produced by Amazon. I've heard audio description that absolutely just not only is the sound quality terrible and sounds far more robotic than this, but it also tramples dialogue, all sorts of things. So they've done worse jobs than this, I will say that, but it still has balancing issues. So as much as I appreciate the fact that Amazon is trying to put something on everything, it's like offering, it's like I asked for a hamburger and you gave me the bottom bun, and you're like, sorry, we don't have hamburgers, but here's half of a bun. It's food. Thanks. I can eat this. I'll give you that. You gave me something edible. It's not really what I asked for. Didn't even put mustard or ketchup on it. You know, like there's no cheese. It's just a bun. It's not even the whole bun. And that's kind of what I feel like is happening. Is I kind of feel like they're like, well, we can't give them the whole cheeseburger. Can we give them part of the bun? You know, like, can we give them sort of like the bare minimum? And the answer is, if I'm hungry enough. When was the last time I ate? So, but for many people, the answer is going to be, no, this is not what I wanted or what I asked for. And I could just go across the street and get an actual cheeseburger. So That's the best. That's what I can come up with. That's my answer to Amazon and their audio description is other people are still doing it better than you. And true, you're like, well, we have a wide selection of buns for you to play, for you to taste. And we do have some cheeseburgers. So there's a chance that you might actually get a cheeseburger with your order because they do have things that have human audio description. But there's a very good chance you may just get a bun. And not even like with a flourish. Not a bun with some sauce and maybe like a piece of lettuce. Like they haven't really figured out how to fully make AI audio description something where people are like, all right, well, okay, I guess, yeah, I mean, I think eventually we will be there. I think that's where we're headed. Um, but this is not that. I mean, I can talk to my phone or to my Echo device a lot better than what's happening here. So the AI is still just not there for this. So my note to the blind community is I'm leaving this up to you. It's your choice. There are reasons to watch this, and it does technically have audio description. So you can choose if you're a Diana Ross fan, if you're a Michael Jackson fan, if you grew up with this movie as a kid and you just want to watch it again. If there's a reason that's strong enough for you to watch it, technically there is audio description here. And it's better probably for you than to not have any at all. So, like having the bottom half of a bun is better than having no food at all. However, it is still clearly subpar. And if I'm going to slap a grade on this, it usually means I'm giving like a stamp of approval. So I'm not going to grade this. I can't say it's totally unwatchable. I need a new grade for this. So I'm going to go with unpalatable. At this point, since I've used so many food references, I'm going to go with unpalatable. It doesn't taste good. It's not a good experience. My experience watching this was not good. As my experience with just eating a bun would not be enjoyable, and I would not recommend that restaurant to people. So, anyway, but I know it's a classic for some people, and I don't want to tell them your opinions are invalid. If I had to grade this, honestly, I would say probably BB plus for me. I don't have that connection to it. It's not even from my time period. So I didn't grow up with The Wiz. And yeah, but I enjoyed a lot of it. I love the songs. Ease on Down the Road and Home are bangers. So, yeah, it just, I think a 5.5 is low. I don't know what's happening on screen, but I think a 5.5 is a little low for this film on IMDb. I don't know what's happening with that. I feel like slowly people have been downvoting this film and nobody's been paying attention to it. It should at least be above 6. I don't get it. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Please click that subscribe button. I have a website, macmovieguy.com. You can go to the audio description project, adp.acb.org. It'll let you know who's narrating where you can watch films with audio description. And you can go to the ADNA.org and see who's narrating your favorite films, television series. That's it. I will watch something else and see you guys on the other side.